Hello, everybody, and welcome to, a post-Christmas holiday special WCCF Tech Talks. We missed last week. It was Christmas time. We don't need to be doing all that nonsense. And also, Keith's lazy, so I'm blaming Keith.
Yeah.
Hope everybody's had a good holiday time. How's everybody else's been here? Everybody's quiet, so I'm going to assume it's been crap for everybody.
I did my thing. I finally got in the PS4 that I've been waiting for, and I have been enjoying playing old games because you can't buy any of the new consoles. So,
Well, that'll be one thing.
Is that a PS4 Pro or just regular PS4?
It's the Slim, but it's the Persona 5 edition.
Okay, then if you got a special edition one, that's not so bad.
Yeah. While you guys are talking, I'll pop the cover off so I can share.
So I'm going to guess that you're not going to be trying to play Cyberpunk on it then.
No, actually, I got my refund for Cyberpunk on my Xbox.
Good job.
But it's
that does look nice, I've got to admit.
There.
It does look nice. Well, that'll be the first topic of conversation then, Cyberpunk, because it's the biggest game launch of the year and one of the worst game launches in recent memory.
It was one of the best. It's the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was 2017.
So, 2020. That's
sure. We'll let Alessio introduce the new goings on of CDProjekt Red.
There were two major news this week. One is that the game reached 30 million units sold, although that does
30?
not count.
Last I heard it was 15.
No, it was 13. 13, sorry.
13? I thought you said 30
Okay.
then.
I was going to say,
no,
30?
13.
Me?
A lot of suckers at Christmas.
And considering that they were already profitable when they basically launched the game with 8, I don't think 5 million people refunded, honestly, on consoles. So
I wouldn't be surprised if a few million did, though.
Actually, I know
mine.
that it's cool to pile on the game, but we'll get back to it later. But the most recent patches on consoles actually have improved a lot in terms of performance. So it's already better than it was even just 10 days ago. Even on PS4 and Xbox One, it's playable now. Minus the bugs. So that's good. And there was also the news that a couple of law firms have basically started potential class action lawsuits against CDProjekt Red because they potentially misled investors.
There was no potential about it. They misled everybody.
But
we'll see. We will. From a personal point of view, looking at it, not in a non-legal point of view. Yeah, they misled people, but legally, who knows?
Actually, as I reported on the article, these very same law firms are basically doing the same thing every time there is a controversy of sorts. They did the same for Activision, basically when they split with Bungie. So basically, they started the lawsuits because they said they didn't disclose it in advance for investors, and as far as I know, those lawsuits have gone nowhere.
So they're ambulance chasers.
They just sound like they are.
So it doesn't really necessarily mean CDProjekt Red will be forced to pay for lawsuits.
No, I don't imagine.
This is like suing McDonald's because you got fat, is what it sounds like.
I think in this situation, it's like, the Activision Bungie thing is just like, I don't like Activision. It's no secret, but Activision reported it to their investors when they knew something was going to happen. That's pretty much like, you don't go to your investors every time. Yeah, we might be selling Bungie. It's like, maybe not. It's like you could then get in trouble if you didn't sell the company. So it just sounds like the legal nonsense is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just nonsense.
Yeah, indeed. Just
on a
go ahead.
perspective of the game, like I know we've had this discussion before. I know you say it's like, yeah, people pile on the game. I don't see it much as people piling on the game. There is no shadow of the doubt. It is a simple fact that on consoles when it launched, Cyberpunk, it was an absolute steaming pile of shit. That is a pure and simple fact. Even now, I was at work with somebody, a friend who's got it on the PS4 Pro, and he says even now it doesn't play great. It's better than it was, but it's still not ideal. It's not to the quality you would expect of a major, game that's been in development for, call it 4 years, announced 7 years ago, been in development for say 4 years, and like promised to work like it should do on the consoles.
Yeah, and
So
like for an action game, even like along the lines of like The Witcher, that is a little bit more passable. But when you're trying
yeah,
to do it with a shooter that needs a lot more like reflexive response, that doesn't fly.
yeah, I don't know. It's like we've all had this discussion. I don't know where CD Projekt Red went wrong. It's like they, I don't know. There's a lot of things that have probably just happened. I'm a firm believer that the reception to Keanu Reeves it made them change certain things. It's like Keanu Reeves got so much hype in E3. Was it 2 years ago?
It was E3 2019 when
Was it 2019?
Yeah, it was last year.
God, it feels like it was 2 years ago.
What I feel like happened potentially. Of course, I'm not in the room, so I don't know. It seems like they started and they just kept building and they never
Yeah.
scaled back
Feature
because
creep.
well,
Mm.
here's the thing. So like yeah, I got my refund, but the game's still on my console, so something's broken there. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. So as
still
long as
play
it's yeah, I can still launch it. So I'm out of I'm not playing it on the console, I'm playing it on PC, but I am checking every time an update comes out. And what I've noticed is on the 1S versus the Series S, what they did was they basically only scaled the resolution. The detail is all there. They're trying to do way more detail than what the console can handle. All they need to do is scale it back. They need it's like they're running everything on high on every system, and they're like, well, we're going to get the bugs fixed, then we're going to get the performance side, and they're never going to get enough bugs fixed to really.
Yeah, they need to get performance first because
it's
people.
Unplayable.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. It's like I've been playing through it. In my save now, I've clocked 80 hours. That this is
Wow.
I've
PC?
decided that, yeah, PC.
Okay.
And honestly, it plays fantastic. And I wasn't expecting. I was expecting with the figures they put out, it's like you essentially need this soul of God just to play the game.
And you don't.
And no, I know it looks great, it plays great. There are certain really annoying bugs at times, and I mean, we spoke about them earlier. They fixed the one where when I looked in a mirror, they fixed it. I can now see my hair.
Yeah.
Which is
nice.
It's like I'm fairly sure you could have fixed more important bugs, but I'm happy. I'm still seeing things. I'm still seeing glitches where people are going through walls, people are hovering, cars are disappearing.
I don't get the good ones. I just get the one that I've gotten, and I keep getting it, so it may just be for me. It's the one where the alpha effects around Keanu's character as he pops in. I get just like this big square with the alpha effects instead of like this really cool effect.
Wow.
It's like it's going in and out of him, and I'm like,
I don't have that.
Well, this could be really cool. I did have an issue. The worst issue that I had was, and I had to load it up on a different computer to fix it. And what it was a mission with Pan Am. You get in the truck and you drive out, and it goes to a load screen. But I got stuck in the load screen. Like no matter how many times I restarted it on my computer, and I had to go to my living room PC and I loaded it up on there, and then I was able to come back and keep playing.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, like I said, I've played it like in my save. like Gog says I played it like 100 hours, but 20 hours of that is just like sat on the main, on the loading screen or something when I've gone off to do something else. But
Yeah.
my save's 80 hours now, and all I'm doing, I barely touched I say barely. I've probably gone through a third of the core story, but I'm doing all the side stuff,
Yeah.
and
but
some of it's really interesting, and I've probably done too much of it, and it's starting to feel like it's the Assassin's Creed ticking off boxes thing now. Like there's another crime here, there's another crime here. It's like they don't
yeah, I
seem as
mean,
interesting. But I suppose, weirdly enough, the things I'm most enjoying at the moment is just finding little your shards where it's just a bit of
Yeah.
dialogue.
The
I mean,
story.
I found like a lot of it's just like, how can I say, just homages to different things. So I found a body in event, and it's a guy called John McBain, obviously, and with Helen. So it's Die Hard,
Yeah.
and I found it for so many different films or something. I found a Matrix one where you've got Orpheus and I can't remember what Keanu was called in the Mr. Anderson. That was it. So it's like Mr. Anderton, and Orpheus, and it's just it's literally the lines of the Matrix. Like, yeah, they're coming up the elevator now. You want to get on the fire escape, and
That's pretty
instead he's
cool.
just being impaled by something. So little
Oh.
things like that I enjoy, but yeah, a lot of it's starting to feel like a box ticking exercise now. And
Well, I mean, if you only do crimes and that minor stuff, of course, it's
well, no, I'm doing
eventually.
all the side stories as well. Every single side story.
Mhm.
I've done. In fact, I've pretty much finished. My map is just like buy these cars and then whatever, and that's what I mean. The side stories, most of them really feel good, and then it's just these things you find on the side. But then that's what I meant by the crimes and all that. Just feel like, yeah, they could have been probably scaled back a bit, not as many, because it just feels like it's trying to pad the map, Assassin's Creed style.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. The game is great. The game is great, but it's not the game that everybody imagined. I tempered my expectations anyway, because I always do. Games are never as good as they tell you they're going to be.
Well,
But
I mean, in terms of imagination, everyone can think that a game it will be the best ever,
yeah,
and then of
that's
course
yeah, never is.
the reality is different. But I think of course, the big sticking point with Cyberpunk, I think, is of course the launch performance on consoles, and
Yeah.
that cannot be excused. But
Well,
at
I
the
don't
same
jump on the
time,
game. I just jump on CDProjekt Red. They lied to everybody. They lied about overworking their staff. I mean, even the staff themselves in a call openly started challenging the management. It's just like, how can you make a game about corporations ruining people's lives when you did that to us? And that's from their own staff.
well, I
So
mean, yeah, but that was hardly a new point. I mean, they already knew
no,
that
no,
since
yeah,
they
no,
began working on the game.
yeah.
So
It's just, I think that's just it. It's just like, I won't jump on the game. The game's great. I've openly said that. Is it a 10 out of 10? Is it the best game of the year? No, no. It's from what I've played, from everything, I'd probably give it's between 8.5 to 9, probably 8.5 out of 10. Because it just feels like it's a better open world game than others around, but it's still another open world game where I don't think the story, the side stories are great. The stories you have with like Judy, I I love her as a character.
yeah, she
It's
was
just
great.
the overall story doesn't seem as interesting as some of them, which seem more focused. And again, I think that's because they shoved more Keanu in this than was originally intended.
Well, anyway, I was saying that personally, I don't think on the game aspect
Hmm.
that CD Projekt Red failed fans,
No,
because I think even in terms of combat, one could arguably say that it is better than The Witcher 3 in terms of. I mean, The Witcher 3 had its combat often
completely
criticized.
different style, but yeah.
Yeah, of course, it is a different style, but I found it just more fun and more approachable, more varied.
I mean, one thing you bring up The Witcher 3, and I think this is why I give CDProjekt Red a little bit, at least the developers, I give them a little bit of leeway. I think everybody remembers The Witcher 3 after the first year.
Yeah.
Because when it launched, it was so busted.
Yeah.
It was worse than what I've seen so far from Cyberpunk. I tried playing it when it launched, and I was like, I can't play this. My horse is like on top of the house over there, and I can't get him to come down.
Yeah, but actually, Kate, that's the thing, because true CDProjekt fans know that not only The Witcher 3, but also the first two The Witcher games, they were also very buggy, and they weren't even open world games. That's why they launched the enhanced editions later, which were basically bug fixes.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't know if you are familiar with this term, but they were basically considered Eurojunk games.
Yeah,
right?
I know it.
Like Gothic or Ryzen and those. And
Yep.
of course, with The Witch,
European RPGs where it's just like
janky, not polished, but
they're Polish, not polished.
That's a fun one. But I mean, it's not even to this day. Of course, you cannot compare. I mean, there are videos online that like compare the world simulation aspect or the driving to GTA, but that's just silly because you cannot really expect CDProjekt to trump Rockstar in that aspect of the game.
In the driving mechanics, I suppose I don't know, the actual world, the giant size of the world and all that, you can't expect it, but to get the driving mechanics right and the physics, I can't see why not. It's not a major part, and to be fair, the driving in GTA is never that great.
No, the problem with the driving in Cyberpunk is if you try to do it with the mouse and keyboard. If you grab a controller, it's not bad, but it needs some work, quite a bit.
I don't know. To be fair, it's like I've got no. As I said before, the driving's janky as hell. It's just the bugs. There's a hell of a lot of little bugs. The game itself's great. I'd say, as I've just said, 8. I'd probably give it 8.5 out of 10. It's just more I just get all the fun bugs like that Keith doesn't get. I've got cars flying. Literally, earlier on last night, I played it for about an hour. I turned a corner and I had 3 cars fall out of the sky. They just instead of being
these good ones.
I said, I'm just there. It's just I turned around and there's 3 cars falling out of the sky. I'm just like, yeah, I understand that you want to simulate the traffic and everything game, but these cars can't fly. They're not flying cars.
Anyway,
it's a good game.
Yeah, actually, that gives us, I think, a way to move to the next topic, which is our best games of the year that we've played, right?
But then again, Kai's not said anything about Cyberpunk yet, but I don't think you've played it yet, have you?
Kai's being smart.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the PS5 version.
The true one.
Nice and polished, and maybe a few less cars falling out of the sky.
You know, you could just buy a PC.
Look. In all honesty, and I've looked
but PCs don't have trophies.
They do. Nope. They get achievements.
Steam achievements.
Those are useless.
Yeah, but look. Seriously, like before we move on, there's absolutely no reason that the Xbox Series S can't run this at 1080p 60 FPS. So when they do have the enhanced versions for the next gen consoles, I wholeheartedly expect a performance and quality setting on every console. One for 30 but higher quality, one for 60 with lower
visual
resolution.
Fidelity.
So that if you haven't played it at this point, I'd wait. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
So yeah, well, let's let Kai start this because he's been so quiet about Cyberpunk. Your 3 games of the year. So what you played?
Yeah, I've been kind of mulling it over. Like, there's been a lot of really interesting ones. I've been playing stuff that's not RPGs for once. And like I know for sure that the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 has to be on my top 3.
Ooh.
Like that is such a nostalgic
this is
pick.
not our website list, so it's like, any game, even the remakes.
Yeah, like that one just captures like that joy I had back in like junior high school playing that Pizza Hut demo disc. It was just Warehouse. It had Goldfinger's Superman on there. Play it for 2 or 3 minutes, and I would spend hours with that as a kid.
Repeat.
I really need. I think I need to buy this. I need to buy it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, granted, it's Activision, so there's a good chance it'll stay at like 40 or $60, or it could drop down to 20 by the time you finally get it. Who knows? But no matter the price, it's totally worth it. Like I've sunk in probably close to 100 hours trying to get most of the hard get theres and all the other little extra achievements.
Yeah,
it's the schoolyard, isn't it? That's what you.
Yeah, school and school too. Like you keep going back, and there's always like new little challenges. But trying to get from like rail to rail across the whole map is a really interesting challenge.
Fair play.
Got to put Yakuza Like a Dragon on there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a period where I was burnt out on these Yakuza games because it was the same city or the same style. It was the same like action combat. It was the same subquest pacing. Like if you've played one, you pretty much know how the rest are going to go. But that shift from going from action combat to that turn-based like Dragon Quest RPG, I thought that was a perfect move for the system, especially because you have a party of like-minded people that are all just like sarcastic assholes, pretty much. Like it's not just Ichiban having fun in there. You've got this homeless guy that's just constantly pessimistic. You've got like 5 or 6 other really interesting characters to mess around with you, and it's not just like Kiryu. He's like a lawful good character. Like he's politely oblivious to a lot of stuff. He kind of just goes into these situations and doesn't really know what's going on. Ichiban just has a lot of fun with this stuff. Like he's just delusional. He's got such a passion for like Dragon Quest and pro wrestling, and like this kind of like childlike pureness to him that makes him such a standout protagonist versus Kiryu from the last 8 games, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fair. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and the third game, it's really tough for me to figure out. Like, I liked The Last of Us Part 2 in the moment. Like, it's a fantastically developed game. There's so many like little details to the world. The story was very interesting, like the one time I played through it, but it's not something I want to go back and enjoy for another 30 hours. But after I put it down, like I haven't really thought about wanting to play it again. You know, it was just enjoy it this one week, and it was a great experience then. But I don't see myself ever going back to that one. You know,
well,
maybe when there's a PS5 version, but
the multiplayer.
beyond that, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. But if we want to talk about multiplayer, Ghost of Tsushima is probably a tie for my third game, even though I haven't touched the multiplayer. Like it's somewhere between like Ghost of Tsushima and Devolver Digital's Disc Room for my third game.
Okay.
Well, that's surprising. So what about Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I liked the combat to it. It was a lot of fan service going on.
Yeah.
Another one that's like I played through it, I think 2 times. Like I did like the normal mode and I did the hard mode playthrough for the platinum trophy. But it's another one where I don't think I'm going to go back and play it again, you know?
Yeah. I can, yeah.
Okay, so who wants to go next? Keith?
All right. I'll go next. Number 1 on my list, Half-Life Alyx. Because it did 2 things. It brought the Half-Life universe back. You know, it completely spun it on its head with some things, really added to the lore. It changed some things that I feel like were for the better. And it really showed that VR could tell a good story and be a very real world. The problem with that is it also raised the bar so high on other VR games that other ones that have come out since then just can't live up or have not even come close to living up to that bar. Medal of Honor being the perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, it was is a catch-22 kind of game. It was the perfect. It was up until now. It's the definitive VR experience. The problem is it has defined what should be a VR experience. Whereas Half-Life 2 did that with narrative story shooting games, and it was an easier medium to reproduce and kind of integrate the things that worked into other games and kind of build on it. VR is a very different monster. So, but it definitely is going to go down as one of the all-time greatest VR games, probably if not the game. Experience-wise, I still think Beat Saber is going to be where your money's at on VR. But
I suppose
Half-Life
VR still early days, so there's a lot of chance for.
But Half-Life Alyx will go down in the history books, in my opinion.
Great VR.
And the next game on my list it actually came out last year on console, but came out this year on PC, and it's going to be Death Stranding. The biggest thing with Death Stranding was it completely took me by surprise. I knew what the game, like it had been out. I knew what the game was. It wasn't like I sat down and started it not knowing what I was getting into, but I didn't. In fact, I had no idea what the game actually was going to present. And I sat and I got late on every assignment that I had. And I got late on later and later getting to work because I wanted to finish this story. I wanted to get to the next point. And I never skipped. Like, you know how some games you'll like skip through the dialogue real quick? Yeah. I never wanted to skip a beat in this game. And I did not expect it. And it was one of the most like memorable gaming experiences this year for me. The next one that I have, we've actually been talking about it, and it's because I also see the potential and we don't even know half of what's there. And it's going to be Cyberpunk 2077 because I've been playing it exclusively on PC. And yes, I've been playing it on a high-end PC with all the bells and whistles.
RTX.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing it 3440 by 1440 with ray tracing enabled from top to bottom. And if you tweak it just right, you can get good, solid performance out of it. And I haven't gotten to experience the crazy bugs. I've had a few. We talked about them. But other than that, not a whole lot. And what I'm seeing here is I'm engaged in the story. Admittedly, there are games out there with better stories, but I'm engaged with the story. I actually like this game better than I did The Witcher 3.
Okay.
I have played The Witcher 3, restarted like 5 or 6 times trying to get into it and stay into it long enough to finish it, and I never could. It's not that I don't like it, it's just I don't like it as much as other games that I was playing.
Yeah.
But the Cyberpunk game, as I keep seeing things that I go, I want to come back to that. I want to come back to that. And that gives me a good feeling for the game. I've already gotten nowhere near as many hours as you, Chris, but they are played hours. I'm 20 plus hours into the game. And
no, my played hours is 80. Like,
okay, that's what I'm saying.
100 hours is just not the 20 hours is unplayed, 80 hours is played.
Yeah, so like for me, 20 hours into a game and still enjoying it says a lot, because usually by then I've walked away because I have so much other stuff to do that I don't feel like I can waste my time trying to finish a game like Godfall that I've uninstalled and purged my system of. So,
okay,
it's just like that.
Pulling an Exorcist.
Now I did have two runners. I did have 2 titles that were runners up. I'm going to give them a little bit of a shout out. One being Horizon Zero Dawn. It had a lot of issues when it launched on PC, but it was also, with it and Death Stranding, convinced me that I needed a PlayStation 4 because I was missing out on a lot of great games. And the other one is actually an expansion. It's Control's AWE expansion. If Control had come out this year, hands down, #1 game, still my favorite game of the past several years. So, okay, I'm done.
I might have to play Control one day.
I love it.
Okay, Chris, you want to go down or should I?
There's so many games. The games from this year I've not actually played a lot. I always keep going back to game. Doom Eternal is great, but again, probably not on my game list of. I tell you, weirdly enough, probably one of my games of the year and it's not going to be on anybody's Game of the Year list, but it probably should be. It's House Flipper. It's a little. No, it's fantastic. It's addictive as hell.
Oh, and nobody picked Among Us.
What?
Among Us.
2 or 3 years old, man.
Oh yeah.
It's a bit old.
I
mean, House Flipper's been in early access, and I played that. I bought the game and I played nearly 35 hours of it, and that's just me. There's something quite cathartic about just getting a sledgehammer and demolishing the walls of a house and just hoovering up piles of cockroaches and God knows whatever else. And it gives you the freedom. Like at points, you get the freedom to just do whatever you want with your house. And the fact that I've played a game bought a game and played it for 35 hours of just by my own choice, and I'm not just thinking, I've had enough of this.
This looks fun. I'm sorry, I'm watching it. This actually does look fun.
It genuinely is. It's the sort of game where you can literally put YouTube videos on or a podcast. Think of it like when Euro Truck Simulator came out, and that just took the world by storm somehow. This is that same sort of game where it's just peaceful and relaxing, and it's just fun. So God knows why, but that's one of my games of the year, just for the sheer fact that I've played a shitload of time on it. Games I actually enjoyed. It's like Yakuza Like a Dragon, for all the same reasons Kai said. It's the game. It's still the same insanely detailed world. There's so much to do. It's so densely packed. The characters are enjoyable. I mean, I love Kazuma Kiryu as a character, but it's nice to have something different at times. And again, the switch of combat, I didn't think it was going to work, because one of the charms of the old Yakuza games was always being able to just fight some weird Japanese guy who comes up to you. Is like they're angry that you stepped on a cracking in the pavement, so you pick up a park bench and beat them to death with it. That's always been a charm of Yakuza, but this did so well with it. And honestly, as a third one, I don't really know. There's so many games I've played. I mean, as an honorable mention, I can't help but say I love Microsoft Flight Simulator, probably for the same reason that I love House Flipper. It's just a game where you can sit down and just lose yourself. I know you're not as big of a fan of it, though, Keith.
I still prefer FSX, and it's the helicopters. Give me helicopters. Let me. I fly in my spare time, so I mean.
Keith is a helicopter guy.
Yeah, I don't have access to a helicopter, so for me, it's more fun to fly a sim helicopter than a regular plane.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say I don't have that. I don't have that much going for me. It's a third game. I can't really pick a third game that really has stuck in my mind as something I'll keep going back to and I'll constantly playing. I've played a lot of older games, but like Flight Simulator is great. Gears Tactics, great game. But I don't know. I'm gonna.
How about like Animal Crossing?
Yeah, again, it's just a game where you can sit down and just listen to a bloody podcast, and there's nothing really. I think there's so many games that feel like time, and it sounds negative, but they feel like time waster games. You don't feel like you're really achieving anything. You're just there just to do more, and it's just a big cycle, and you keep on doing more. So I don't know.
Did you play
I'm going to play. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to say Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Okay.
There you go.
No,
I started playing World of Warcraft.
I've been playing the expansion to that, and to be fair, it's a great expansion. Half-Life Alyx again, it was great. Exact same reasons Keith has said, but again, I don't think I'm going to go back to it.
Well, I mean, those games are made to be played once, but
Yeah, I know. It's just sometimes the stories you can go back to and really enjoy. I suppose it's a bit damning that there's no game that really stands out to me as one that I really, really, really want to just play again and again and again. It's like I suppose I've been playing the shit out of Cyberpunk. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna say
that
House
must mean
Flipper.
something.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 80 hours, and I'm starting to get bored, which is, I suppose, if you played anything for 80 hours and you're only starting to get bored, there's something really good about it, and it's a great game. I'm probably going to say Ghost of Tsushima because if anything, that's the best open world game of the year.
Oh, I can play that now.
Yes, you can. And it is. It's the best open world game of the year. It's a genuinely beautiful game.
Yeah, it's it's also one of my.
Yeah, sorry. That's it. Yakuza Like a Dragon, House Flipper of all things, and Ghost of Tsushima. And I think that's it. Ghost of Tsushima.
For my 3 picks.
Have you got House Flipper as well?
No, no, I don't have that one. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is a great game. Although I mean, for fairness sake, it is nowhere near as complex as Cyberpunk or
No, it's
even
not as
many other.
complex, but it's so beautiful. The art
Yeah, it
design,
is.
everything, and I think the mission
Yeah,
design was. I think some of the mission design was a bit better. Depends on the mission. Obviously, Cyberpunk's got some great ones as well.
and other than Ghost of Tsushima, I'd also say The Last of Us Part 2 because it is still, even if some folks didn't like how they handled Joel in the story, but other than that, I think it was a powerful story and a powerful way to, experience a conflict from 2 completely different and opposing sides. And other than that, I'd have to agree with Keith and say also Cyberpunk because played on a high-end PC with all the bells and whistles. And there are also on PC there are also starting to appear some pretty cool mods actually.
I can't include mods when I rate a game though.
And so yeah, but I still think, like I said, it is in terms of the quantity and the quality of the content, it is hard to say it is a disappointment, honestly. And
yeah, I don't think any of us think it's a disappointment, or not unless they played it on the console.
So yeah. And also as a runner-up, I'd say Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is also a great game. I think possibly the best PS5 launch game. And it was of course building upon the previous game, so not much new in terms of mechanics, but so it was still a great game to experience.
Yeah, and I think it was better paced than the original one too. Like there wasn't nearly as much side content, so you spent a lot more time focusing on the story itself. Like there were still some obligatory side activities that helped you get some additional powers, but you never really felt like you were wasting your time like you did with the first game.
Yeah, I think when it comes to side activities, I mean, eventually it's really hard to make all of those interesting, but the thing that's most important is, I think, if you have a strong combat system and a strong mission design and counter design, then even if you are replaying similar, like random encounters on the open world, it can still feel fun if the combat is fun and if the the AI is fun, and so that's important, I think. But yeah, so we looked into 2020, but of course we have 2021 ahead of us. So
the apocalypse. That's my prediction.
Okay. Does anyone want to start with the I don't know, most anticipated games, or
I think
just
we're going to see some good games in 2021, but it's going to be the games that make the new consoles. Horizon Forbidden Journey to the Planet of Apes.
Right.
What was that?
I don't know
But
what it's called. Horizon Forbidden West, or
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah.
I always keep thinking of what that Journey to the West or whatever it is. You know, the Monkey King. I don't know why, but then again, it's, yeah.
That was Ninja Theory's Enslaved Journey to the West.
Yeah, I mean, it's based
Yeah.
off of a very famous story, but yeah.
Mhm.
But
It's Dragon Ball.
that's what Dragon Ball is also based off of. Yeah, we're going to see Horizon. We're probably going to see Gran Turismo. I think what is it this year coming? The Gran Turismo is going to be launching.
Yeah, and also in theory the next God of War, they said.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
I
Ragnarok. Yeah.
There's going to be so many big. Keith's giddy. There's going to be so many big launches. I mean, there's obviously Halo Master Chief goes
Infinite.
to Hollywood. Yeah. Halo
I'm
Infinite.
being reserved about Infinite, but I am excited about it.
I mean, I'll be playing it, which is unusual because it's going to come out on the PC, which is always good.
And also on Xbox Game Pass. So of course,
Yep.
Yeah. So you won't even have to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to see Starfield this year? Oh,
yeah,
next year?
I think so. Yeah, it's very likely, I'd say. And I will say it will be the redemption of Bethesda Game Studios. There, you have it.
Don't do that. You're already getting started too high. You're setting the bar too high.
I am personally.
I mean,
if it's using the same engine they've been using for the past few games, it's not going to be their redemption.
No,
Yeah,
supposedly it's getting the whole new engine.
If it's got a new,
yeah, it's
actually
the creation engine, guys. It's not Gamebryo anymore.
Yeah, well, no, they've been using the creation engine for the last 2 games, is it?
Yeah, it's the same engine.
I'm going to say, if it's the same engine, I think it's going to have the same bugs and everything. They're going to polish it better than they did.
It's the biggest overhaul they've ever did for their engine.
That's
supposedly
even more concerning, so there's going to be even more bugs.
It has should have a new animation system, so hopefully better animations.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I like the Bethesda. I do like Bethesda games. The junk, the bugs, they're part of the charm. It's just that charm and the junk and the bugs came with NPCs that you could enjoy. It came with things like that, and it's like Fallout 76 just lifted the veil. It was just like, so all these things that you kept you distracted from the crap. Well, we've got rid of that, so here's a big pile of crap. That was a bad move.
I am highly anticipating Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
So what are we thinking, Kai? Is Chris going to be not our Chris, that Chris? Is he going to be the bad guy in Resident Evil 8?
Oh, I was
going to be
I'm not in
like
Resident
a
Evil 8.
3 protagonist kind of deal. Like it's going to be Ethan for part of it, it's going to be Chris for part of it, and then a new unnamed person to kind of like tie things up. But I don't think they're going to get rid of Chris, and I don't think they're going to turn him full evil. Like, I don't know. I don't see Capcom doing such a heel turn with one of their main characters.
Well, I mean, they did it with Jill. You know, the way
temporarily.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. We're going to see something like that. I don't think it's going to be, full blown, but I think it's going to be he's been manipulated.
Yeah, like there's probably something to do with Claire. Like maybe she's been taken hostage, so he has to go work for whichever group this is now, not Tricor, BSAA, or whatever.
Umbrella's coming back.
I have my reservations about the whole the werewolf thing, so we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Maybe we'll see Jake Wesker back again. You never know.
Oh god.
You've ruined Keith's life.
I don't remember shit about 6, to be honest.
For me, I think Village looks a lot like Resident Evil 4 inspired, right?
Yeah.
Well, 4 was the game
like-
that made.
It's like 4 and 7 had a baby.
Yeah, it's
Those are the 2 great games of recent, and the people remember of Res Evil. When they went past the proper survival horror into like action horror.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I suppose it makes sense.
You know why Resident Evil 4 sucks though? Does not have
Why?
a platinum trophy for any of its versions.
Oh, for God's sake!
Somebody
Ah,
log Kai out.
It's like,
And actually, yeah, go
no,
ahead.
no, yeah. I was just thinking on horror. I'm looking forward to the medium because it's
Yeah,
horror.
it's coming out next month, right? End of next month.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. In
I'm
terms
excited.
of PC games that historical PC games, in theory, not sure it will actually happen, but in theory we should have Stalker 2.
I
2020.
mean, that's been signed on. That's going to be an Xbox exclusive. Well, Xbox and PC, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see it next year. I think because it's only just been announced, it's going to be 2022. Honestly,
Yeah, probably. But the first Stalker, I think it was revolutionary for the game that when it
Shadow of
launched.
Chernobyl.
Yeah, I
So-
never
But
played
all of
Clear
them-
Skies or whatever the other like pseudo sequels were. Yeah.
There was Shadow of Chernobyl, Call of Pripyat, and then Clear Sky.
Yeah.
Those were fun.
Yeah.
There
I
are
mean,
also a lot of mods, unofficial DLCs that because the environment, the universe, so to speak, is ripe for expansion.
So good. It was so good.
Uh,
But then again, the universe was technically expanded by into Metro because that was the spiritual successor.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same as the original? It's going to be like the original Stalkers with a completely new crew behind it. I hope it is because I'll be playing it. I love Stalker, so yeah, we'll see. I think 2022 though for that. I'm waiting to find out when we're going to get Final Fantasy VII Remastered Remake Part 2.
Yeah, I'm actually waiting to see when when we're getting the first one on PC. Hopefully soon, but
I'm gonna say probably like right on that 1 year mark. That's gonna be March. Yeah.
Again, the other Final Fantasy 16 was announced, so it's like that's not going to be this coming year. But it's like, how are they balancing that? Making 2 full Final Fantasies, the remake Part 2 and Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I think actually Yoshida, which is the creative director for both Final Fantasy 14, as you know, and 16 too, he said just I think yesterday or the day before it, he said he'll have news on both games next year. So
I mean, 14
Yeah.
is probably not going to be another expansion. It's only just had one this year, so I think 14 will get expanded in 22 again. It's usually every 2 to 3 years, a big expansion.
Yeah, we'll probably see another like incremental one with like new raids, and then probably the PS5 version, maybe in like the second half of the year.
Yeah.
So, do you think is Project Tatia coming next year or not? The one.
No, it's still a project, isn't it?
Oh,
I don't know. What's that? What's that weird one they're doing with like the fair thing? Like playground, God knows whatever the Square Enix keep talking about.
Square Enix.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Playground.
I can't remember what it's called. I'm just having a look. Upcoming games.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like Balan Wonderworld, but that's like the Sega guy, and like that's for sure like early next year.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's coming, obviously, but yeah, March 26th, next year. I just see it thinking it's just like I don't know. It just feels like a weird playground thing to me.
It's their character platformer, so it's going to be very similar. Not necessarily like Sonic Adventure, but there was Billy Hatcher, those type of games.
Yeah. Okay.
In terms of games that I'd like to see, but I haven't seen this year, I'd like to see more of Babylon's Fall, which is from Platinum Games.
Yeah.
And at least from the bits they have released, it seemed like Godfall done right. Which, I mean, like a game that could be, action-oriented with co-op maybe, but actually cool, instead of... So I'd like to see more of that. And I don't know. There's a bunch of games, as always. Of course, some of them will be delayed, as Chris said. That's the
I think. I mean, there's Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. I was so looking forward to that this year, but
yeah. But I mean, if Cyberpunk's launch, had any lesson for those, I think they'll wait even more for that one, because when I saw it, it was at E3 2019, but
I saw a game come after that.
It was very rough still. So it's
I saw it at Gamescom, and it looks rough, but they were just, again, same as every time I saw Cyberpunk, they were just showing pre-made sort of things. So I don't think, honestly, I'd be surprised. I don't know when we'll see Vampire. We'll
definitely.
see.
But at least we're getting other actually World of Darkness games next year.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
there is a werewolf game which looks decent from Cyanide, I think. And
Werewolf the Apocalypse, or God knows what else.
Yeah, and also there is a VR game from the other World of Darkness IP, which was, I think, Wraith. Was it Wraith? I think, yeah.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. I can't remember the name. But then again, we've got, I mean, God knows, we've still got that Gollum game to come out, which is from Data Lake. That looks interesting. It's Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Again, will it be next year? Amazon have still got to do something with New World.
Yeah, that should also be released next year. And also from Blizzard, I think we'll get Overwatch 2, hopefully. So it's...
they're definitely making that. We'll see. There's the games we know that are coming, though. There's some interesting ones. Back 4 Blood or Left 4 Dead 3, whichever one you want to call it.
Yeah, although I was in the alpha, and it was basically Left 4 Dead 2 with updated graphics, basically. So it's not very exciting, I think, at least for me.
That's fair enough.
It'll definitely be good for just like a small scale multiplayer game to play with your friends. I don't expect it to change the world, just like Killing Floor 2 didn't really revolutionize that part of the genre either.
That's fair enough.
There is going to be Far Cry 6, which I think may be interesting, especially with Esposito as the main villain. Could be a good one. And also we've got the first Warner Bros. Game in a long time, beside the fighting games, with Gotham Knights, which is coming out next year. And
I just don't know why everybody's so giddy about that yet. But I again, I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical, but I just Warner Brothers have ruined.
What? They haven't done anything right?
Yeah, there's that.
Look, it's like I said with Cyberpunk. When I loaded it up and I saw Warner Brothers, I was like, oh dear God, they got near this. That's Cyberpunk's problem. Warner Brothers was involved. I know they were just distribution, but they touched it.
They were North American distribution.
Yeah,
they were the publishers in North America, physical retail.
And another Warner Bros. Game is
Avalanche's one.
No, Hogwarts Legacy.
Well, everybody's not happy about because of Tolkien?
What?
Oh, there's
Scrolling.
some. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not getting involved in all that.
Yeah, that's not. That's other kind of world.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm already involved by mentioning the name. So, if anybody's listening to this, just forget I said anything. Just think of like Neo 2.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Anyone else has any prediction? Will we get the Switch Pro? Probably not next year.
I mean, it's been 3 years since the original
Yeah, I
hardware
think we
launch.
will actually. I think we will.
Yeah, there's some games that have dynamic resolution that could definitely take advantage of a little bit more power, especially like the Xenoblade titles, some of the other ones that even like Doom Eternal, I believe, has some really weird resolution stuff to it. So I think those type of games could definitely take advantage of a Switch Pro. I don't think they would. Maybe they would like announce it on the anniversary of the original Switch for like a holiday release, but it's not anything we're going to see early in the year.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see. I think they'll probably give it a release date. I think they're probably around E3. They're going to say, "Yeah, Switch Pro's coming at this time."
Hopefully with the DLSS hardware.
It's going to have ray tracing as well.
Ray tracing. That's just not possible. Kate,
you're
quiet.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
Are you eating? What are
nothing.
you doing?
I am thinking about food, but I'm just over here hoping that people will be able to actually buy things.
Yes. There's no doubt. In fact, you're talking about E3. I don't think we're going to see E3. I think we're going to stick to digital events for the first half of the year, but I'm hoping and praying, just so I can have alcoholic beverages in Germany, that Gamescom will be going ahead in August.
Yeah, I don't. My prediction is we won't see wide scale availability of hardware from consoles to computer parts until mid March. Until then, it's going to be pretty light.
I think we're going to see it some sort of return to a semblance of normality June, July time.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping July because I'm meant to be seeing Bryan Adams at the 1st of July. So yeah. Hey, what's wrong with Bryan Adams?
Nothing.
So
in fact,
actually,
it's a bit of a change. There is something video game related which we haven't mentioned, and that's about a film. We should be seeing the Uncharted film this coming year.
I hope it's better than Monster Hunter.
Have you seen it?
Shouldn't be hard. I mean, it shouldn't be hard.
I still want to see that. I want to see it.
Just turn the lights off. You'll enjoy that more. Sit in the dark.
Oh God, that bad.
But actually, go ahead, guy.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of a minor prediction just because it was part of those Capcom leaks and whatever. But I'm hoping we get a couple of those Phoenix Wright games, the great Ace Attorney ones, finally getting localized.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
No, personally, but I think many of you may feel the same. I hope everything is right at Techland with Dying Light too. So it's
well, that's in development hell. God knows. I think we'll get it. It will arrive, but again, such a long development cycle. People anticipation is going to be like it's been in development for this long.
I mean, then again, it is a major enhancement over the first Dying Light, with the RPG aspects. So it's hopefully. And then, of course, Chris, there is the final Easter egg, the most anticipated game of everyone.
House Flipper 2.
No, Grand Theft Auto 5 on next gen. Okay. You disagree?
Oh, make it stop.
Oh God!
Generation 3 generations in a row.
Oh dear.
I mean, to be fair,
what about Skyrim?
Yeah, but I'm really eager to see what Rockstar can do with the PS5.
There's going to be GTA 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GTA 6.
So I don't think it'll be out this year. I get the feeling they're going to announce it this year for an early next year launch.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I think a couple of years.
Well, it is in development. We all know that. It's like the worst kept secret in the world. They're definitely making it now, but it's I just remember a comment from I think it was about 3 years ago, Dan Houser, and they were talking about GTA and how the game is all based on satirizing just America. But it was hard to really make a game satirizing America when they had the pumpkin in charge. Like every day was just satire. So yeah. I think it will be coming out. I think it's going to be 2022, sometime about that. But yeah, they'll just have a big reveal trailer, E3 Gamescom time, and it'll probably
Do you think it will still be in the US? I'd like to see it back to London for once.
It'll be US,
or maybe another part of the world.
I wouldn't. To be fair, I wouldn't mind it being in Britain because they could really get away with just satirizing the shit show that is Brexit and this country. But yeah, it's like I think the US is just their market. It's the biggest market for them, and it's just so easy. The thing about GTA is it's guns, and Britain doesn't have gun stores, so you can't really get away with that as much. So
you got alleys.
Ammunition.
You got alleys.
Yeah, but you don't really have a big gun store where you can just walk in and buy a rocket launcher.
I guess they could do a Watch Dogs Legion thing where they, everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
After Brexit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that'll be happening in about 5 days.
Good luck with that.
On that note, I think, guys, we'll see each other in 2021.
Yeah.
It's been a fun year.
Has it?
No.
Lots of time to chip away at the old backlog, that's for sure.
Right, it has been that. I have definitely I will be thankful for this year is that I've gotten a chance to go back and finish some things.
Yeah, there is that. There is that.
You got to find the silver lining, guys. You got to find the little light, a little bit of sunshine in there.
It's like the whole world was destroyed, but
I got to play a game. I finally got to play. To be fair, I finally played The Last of Us.
See, I did too.
There you go.
Yeah,
when was that released?
I don't want to talk about that.
Why?
Because we're just now getting a chance to play it, and I've had it since it came out.
When was that released? Was it like 2012?
2013.
You're kidding. I was taking the piss with 2012. I was thinking more like 2016.
June 14th, 2013.
Oh my God. So that means I'm not going to be playing The Last of Us 2 until 2027.
Yeah. It came out just before my daughter was born, so.
Oh my God. I thought it was later than that.
No. Was that all for us today, guys? Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's it. On that revelation of The Last of Us being older than I thought it was.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Kai, any parting thoughts from 2020?
Man, I just need some good new RPG to play. Like I want to round this year off with, one of the best games to come out this year, and I've got to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Actually,
not World of Warcraft, I'll tell you that.
Oh.
I like the new expansion.
One game I didn't get to play yet is Western 3, but they say it's pretty good, so I'd like to play it soon.
Awesome.
Well, gents.
Yeah, awesome. I think
sign out for 2020.
Goodbye, 2020. You
Fuck
now
off,
may go
2020.
die. Yeah,
I said it fast. We'll see you guys in a new year.
Yeah, bye.
Au revoir.